What is going on, guys? So today is going to be the very first day that I start working on the RAM project, and I already started. I already got everything taken apart, but this is going to be a video and it's going to be split up into sections. So I think I'm going to do a removal for the interior and adding a dynamat, or not dynamat, my bad, kill mat. So I already did that. So he's a sneak peek, I guess. And then this first video is going to be adding this, removing the carpet, adding this kill mat, power washing the carpet, and I think that's it. And then the second video is going to be wiring, and then wiring the door speakers. And third video is going to be creating a sub box. And then fourth video is probably going to be creating an amp rack and finishing the project. So if you guys want to go ahead and see all this, subscribe. So now let's get started with the removal of the interior, and yeah, let's go. And before I start removing this, what we're gonna do is make a spacer so all of these brackets sit up 1.5 inches higher. But now I'm gonna vacuum all this up, and there's actually an imprint here that I'm gonna measure, and then as well as here and on that other side. And I'm gonna just replicate this with you guys could use pieces of wood, or I'm gonna use a material that's over there that I'll show you guys in a bit, and then drill the same exact holes. And then here we have to drill a hole for the screw, and then a hole for a locking pin that helps it not move side to side. Right, so I didn't bolt them down completely. I just put 1, 2, 3 back there just so it doesn't move. And the whole point of this is to be able to A, give us more space this way for a bigger sub box, and then B, to let us bring back the top, which like this, so we could if we mount our amp and everything back here, we could be able to see that. And we weren't able to move that before without unmounting the seat, guys. So now that I have the seats off, I'm actually gonna clean them good. And I don't know if you guys could see, but all this dust and like rust buildup, I'm gonna repaint that. So I already sanded and cleaned off everything. There's still a little rust, but that's okay. Everything's nice and smooth. Okay, so these are all painted up, looking nice and new. I already added the clear coat. I'm just gonna let these dry. And while these dry, I'm probably gonna clean up the seats. Okay, so we're gonna get this truck ready for some kill mat. Okay, so I have this pried up, and then I pulled this out from the top, so that gives me access to the side. And then I also had to move this one first so that this will pop out. And there you go. So now you just pull these out. Okay, so I already had my battery disconnected, or the power wire. So all I'm gonna do is fish that wire out now from down there, and I'm just gonna keep pulling until it comes out. All right, guys, so I have a lot of aftermarket interior lighting upgrades like these, and under the seat, and eventually under the truck. And I connected most of them to existing wires already, like this kill switch. And you know, I never really followed the remote wire, but I always knew there was a huge mess down here. I never really wired it correctly, but I wanted to figure out where everything came from and kind of make everything neater, because there's just so many wires connected to so many things. Okay, guys, so after some work, this is what it looks like. Sorry, take that off, but there it is. Obviously this isn't plugged in yet. This is gonna go up in that hole, but no more strands of loose wires. But I taped up anything I didn't need for now, because I probably use that for the remote wire later. And watch this. Look at all of the wires that under there that were either connected to the same thing or one to each other, and it was just a mess. So it looks a lot better now. Center console, it's got bolts on the sides, on top, and then for my truck it has the connectors in the back, and then that should just lift up. We got all the seats off. And yeah. Okay, so after the center console is off, you need a torque 27, and take these 4 holes and those 4 screws out, and then you can remove this. And then I believe that's a T50. I don't know, I'm gonna have to check because I don't actually have that one. Hey guys, so everything is out. This was actually a T50, so we had to go buy that to remove the seatbelt on both sides. You don't need to remove the back ones because these are mounted on the wall. But now we removed these clips, the center console, the seats. All right guys, so there's the carpet out of the truck. It smells horrible, so we're gonna be washing that tomorrow. And it's not as bad under here as I thought. We have some crumbs, but most of it is actually pretty clean. I'm just gonna clean over it using this all-purpose cleaner. You guys could use anything. And then to speed the process, I have this spinning brush, and then I'll clean everything, wipe it down with some towels, and then I'll show you guys the after. Alright guys, so this is it after cleaning. Looks a lot better, as you guys could see. So right now that this is off, I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with some spray paint, Rust-Oleum, just to cover up all that rust. Alright guys, so we're gonna be installing this now, and the only tools you need is some sort of cutting utensil, and then a roller. I have rubber ones. You guys could use wood ones or metal ones, and then some rubbing alcohol to clean off the surface. And I guess if you care, then you want to make all of them face the same way, but if not, then you could face them whatever way you want. But we're just basically gonna clean off the surface. If there's any holes we need to preserve, we're gonna mark those and then cut those out, and then finally stick it on and roll it with this. All right guys, so I didn't want to take off this plastic piece because the window was attached and I didn't want to do too much work. So on my truck they have this flap, and I just kind of shoved the whole mat. I took these screws off, I pulled this out a little, and I shoved the mat in there, and I did the best to my ability to coat that. And I got some coverage, which is better than no coverage. So yeah, if you guys could remove this plastic and then put it on all the inside, it would be a lot better. If not, it's all right. Okay guys, so I ended up using about a sheet and just spread it around randomly through the plastic. My door is so uneven that it would be really hard to just put flat sheets on it. I don't want to risk the actual door not fitting on, and then there's a whole bunch of clips where the door slides in. So in my case, it wasn't the greatest, and then I couldn't take this off, but I did manage to get 2.5 sheets in there. There's one going this way, one going this way, and then half a sheet going diagonally down. So this is better than nothing. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. And I already filled in the back seats where I had cut up, so around that area I doubled up on it because when we cut off the metal it ruined it. So yeah, the whole car is complete. Just got to do that door and wash the carpet, and that'll be it for this video. All right guys, so I ran into sort of a dilemma. I placed the spacers on both sides. They're not mounted or anything, but the seat is in its position. And here I have a 10-inch sub, which is not the one I plan on installing, but I do want to install one. And if you guys saw from before, the old sub box that I had laid across like this, and the sub face sat here. And my plan for these spacers was to give myself more clearance for a bigger box, because the new subs that I have, or that I'm going to get, need more airspace. So the taller I could get this, the more airspace, and then I could add more space down here to add the amplifiers if I don't go with the putting them on the wall. But now that I have the truck disassembled, I was noticing that this here is just a thin sheet that is I mean, it really has no purpose besides just cutting off the space so that you wouldn't be able to see under the seats. And preferably, I would much rather have forward-facing subs than under the seats, just so that I could optimize as much space as I want, and I could go real tight, nice and under here. That if I had the sub, I wouldn't be able to go so tight because it would hit on here, and then we would get markings like this previous one. So now that I measured it, I have 11 inches, maybe 11 and a half from bottom to top, about 11 and a half. And that should be just enough space. I don't know if you guys could see. Let me try to mount this facing straight up. So that should be just enough space to give myself a 10-inch sub plus half an inch on top and under it for it to mount, which I think ultimately is what I'm going to do. I'm going to probably mark these. I'm going to think about it a little more, but I'm probably going to mark these and cut them off, cut the bottom, and then somewhere around here cut. And we'll see if I do that, but I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I kind of wasted this kill mat here, but you know, it's not the end of the world. So I'll keep you guys updated and see what happens. All right, so for now, I think I'm going to cut right along there. Then I can't cut this whole piece off because the front of the seat lays on it. So I got to make sure this is pretty strong, which this bend right here makes it pretty strong. So if I cut pretty close to it, I don't think this will start tilting down over time. And then the majority of the weight is on the back anyway. And then I'll just follow that line here, and I think that should be fine. And obviously along the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'll show you guys with what when I decide, and then we get to cutting. Alright guys, so there's the second one cut off with the Sawzall. I'm just gonna hammer those sharp edges down, and some of the kill mat got damaged, which is fine because this area is gonna be for the sub. So I'm just gonna double up from about here all the way up there. I'll just double up and cover that edge too on both sides, and everything should work out fine. Okay guys, so we cut that off, and then there was this little piece here that was kind of just connecting there, and it would have just been better to cut it off. So with the Dremel, since this was a hard angle, I just sliced one there, and then I kind of sliced it here and just wiggled it off until it fell out. And now we could go ahead, hammer this down and wrap around, and then at the end I'll smooth off all these edges because these are some very sharp edges. I ended up hammering this curve over just so it wouldn't be dangerous. Somebody hit their hand there, and I'll get a little bit more clearance. So I'm just gonna touch this up with some paint, just some black paint, just so anywhere where there's a bare metal like this or this, so it won't rust in the future. So I'm gonna clean all this up, wipe it down, and then wipe it down with alcohol, and then just spray it down real quick and let it dry. And I'll put the kill mat all over this later once it's dry. All right, to clean the carpet, I'm going to be using this Chemical Guys fabric cleaner. Supposedly it removes stains and odors. So I'm going to be using this, probably diluted with some water, and then to make my life easier, this brush attached to a power drill and a power washer. And my dog's laying on the carpet right now, so I'm going to have to tell him to move. Enzo, what are you doing? Alright guys, so now I'm just going to rinse everything off, and look at how brown this water comes out. You guys see that? I'm going to finish rinsing everything off one way and then try to hang it up on the wall so it lays down flat on the truck, my bed. Alright, so I got the carpet pinned up on the truck and the sun is facing it, so I'm going to rinse it down one more time from top to bottom and let it dry for like 2 days probably. Okay guys, so I was doing a final cleaning, and then I noticed, not right there, that's not rust, that's glue, but there are some spots on the inside, like right there and down there, right here. They're starting to rust. So what I'm going to do is, I have this undercarriage paint that I was going to use for the bottom of the truck, but I cleaned all this up, and I'm going to cover up what I don't want to paint and then just give it a quick coat or two, just so it'll prevent any future rusting. I'm already here, so might as well.